Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Mark Causey here from Black Cat Comics in Rockin' Milpitas. Every Wednesday is New Comic Day, and I like to give you some great reasons to get down to your local comic shop and pick up something fun to read. It's a big week with a lot of great, exciting books to talk about. Got to start with the DC guys this week because this is Dark Knight 3, Master Race, number 3, the third issue to the third part of the Frank Miller Batman mega story. Can't say enough about Frank, can't say enough about the original classic Dark Knight Returns. This book's been really solid. So if you're one of the 3 people that missed out on the first couple issues, grab those, pick up this week's number 3. Great stuff. And this guy is the latest issue of Justice League, The Darkseid War. This is the probably second hugest book DC has right now. You've been hearing a lot about the DC relaunch of a lot of their books, but it's not because they don't have a lot of solid stuff. This book, Justice League, is probably one of the best books in comics right now. Great stuff there. Speaking of some of the best stuff in comics, this is Superman, Coming of the Superman number 1 by all-time legendary Neal Adams. You've been hearing me talk about him because he's doing the B covers to a lot of DC books this month. Really don't need to explain who Neal Adams is. If you don't know who he is, Google him and buy everything he's ever done because he's super awesome. And start with this week's Coming of the Superman because that's great stuff. And speaking of him, here's the Neal Adams variant to Superman. It's a big week for the Blue Boy Scout. That's the main book. Superman, Lois and Clark. It's probably my favorite DC title right now for reasons that I can't really explain if you're not reading it. But I assume that this book has a lot to do with Rebirth, so you might want to be checking that out. And Superman, Wonder Woman. Told you it was a big week for the Blue Boy Scout. Always a big week for Batman. Told you about Master Race. Here's the weekly Batman and Robin Eternal. And speaking of Robin, your latest issue of Grayson, your latest issue of We Are Robin. There's your Neal Adams cover to that one. The Flash, DC's biggest TV star these days, and Aquaman, Deathstroke, the original Deadpool. It's your Neal Adams cover to that one, and your Neal Adams cover to Cyborg. Cyborg's going to keep right on going in the Rebirth universe. Second issue of Suicide Squad, Katana Deadshot. First one exploded, so I know you've all been waiting for the second one. Teen Titans, that's your creepy, cool Neal Adams cover to Teen Titans. And Justice League 3001 rounds out your DC stuff. Unless you're counting the Vertigo books, this is your latest issue of Art Ops. Always talking up Mike Allred in anything he does because I just love that art style. Been encouraging you guys to pick up a lot of these new Vertigo books, something a little different. That's Art Ops, and this is Jacked. Those are your Vertigo books for the week. Huge and great week for the DC guys. And it's a big week for my friends at Marvel. You know, I'm always talking up the Avengers. Look at that fantastic cover. Homage to the original Avengers number 57, the first appearance of the Vision. This book's been really solid. Everybody's already on board with the Avengers, so I don't have to talk too much about that. How about all new X-Men? With your all-new Wolverine right there on the cover, taking on the Blob. Or X-Men, Worst X-Men Ever. Sort of funny book, first issue of a new mini. Rounds out your X stuff. All new Inhumans, because the Inhumans with 2 books these days, and getting a lot of TV time. Speaking of TV time, this is your latest issue of Daredevil. Hope you're all getting ready for season 2 out there on Netflix. The trailer was awesome, and this book is really, really great, as it's been for years and years. Daredevil is one of the best books Marvel does. Spider-Man 2099, Silk, and Venom Space Knight is your spider-related stuff for the week. Drax is your Guardians book of the week. Astonishing Ant-Man is your movie star book of the week, I guess, since there's no Deadpool books this week. Patsy Walker Hellcat might be flying under your radar, but I've been talking this book up a little bit. If you've been seeing the Jessica Jones stuff, you know a little bit about who Patsy Walker is. Long-time classic Marvel character, and this book's been a lot of fun, so you might want to check that out. Moon Girl, with totally awesome Hulk there on the cover. Angela, Queen of Hell, and Unbeatable Squirrel Girl are your ladies of Marvel this week. And my man Hercules rounds out your Marvel stuff. Unless you're talking about Star Wars Kanan spinning out of your Star Wars animated series adventures and the Marvel Cinematic Adventures. If I have to tell you what that picture's from, you didn't stay in the theater long enough. These cinematic books have been pretty interesting, so if you're into the Marvel movies like everybody is, they've done Cap, they've done Thor, now that's the Avengers. Cool stuff. Fun week for my guys at Dark Horse. You know I'm always talking up Mike Mignola and the great job he does with Hellboy. This is Hellboy in the BPRD 1953. Haven't seen a Hellboy proper book in a while, so this is a lot of fun. Usually talking up Abe Sapien, BPRD, Lobster Johnson. Can't ever go wrong with anything Hellboy. Lots of fun. Conan the Avenger. Also always talking up what a great job they do with their licensed stuff. Like Fight Club 2. You'll love the movie. The book's been selling like crazy. If you haven't heard about this one, you'll definitely want to grab the first issue. It's written by the same guys who did the movie, sort of a sequel. Really cool stuff. Huge week for the guys at Image. Maybe you've heard of a book called Saga. Next to Walking Dead, this is easily the biggest book they have. Cool science fiction, Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. You definitely want to grab the first trade paperback, or at the very least the $1 reprint of the first issue, and see what everybody's talking about. Platona from Jeff Lemire. Always saying how some of the best writers and artists in comics have their own creator-owned title over at Image. So if you love their Marvel or DC stuff, you probably want to find their Image book and see what's up with that. Like Jeff, like my man Greg Rucka and his book Black Magic. Like Kirkman and Outcast. Lots of great stuff from those guys. You know, we've been asking a lot of our military these days, but I think asking them to take on Transformers and Street Fighter is a little much. IDW's got G.I. Joe taking on everybody this week. Love me some Street Fighter versus G.I. Joe, because Destro's awesome. And Transformers G.I. Joe's been red hot from the beginning. Those are books you're probably already picking up. But Back to the Future, my other IDW book, along with Ghostbusters, because like Dark Horse, these guys do a really great job with their licensed product stuff. Good week for Valiant too. Faith. This is the second issue of one of the biggest indie books coming right now. Our first plus-size model superhero. Cool book there. And Bloodshot Reborn. Probably one of my favorite Valiant books. Been saying that everybody should have a Valiant book on their list. Bloodshot or Exo. Divinity's coming back around. Great stuff from those guys. And a lot of fun from the all ages stuff. This is Bart Simpson number 100. If you're old school like me, you love these double-sized anniversary issues. And I'm always talking about what a great job Bongo does with their stuff. Just as funny as the show. And Futurama, speaking of the Bongo guys, only comes out 3 or 4 times a year. So when you see a Futurama comic, you gotta grab it. And speaking of Hellboy, here's your all-ages Hellboy called Itty Bitty Hellboy. This is number 6 of 6. If you've been missing out, we've got a Black Hat pack for the whole shebang. Or you could just grab this issue and have some laughs. A lot of great stuff. Want to mention that our big, huge DC comic sale is this weekend. It's the last one of the big February publisher sales. All of our DC Comics merchandise, 25% off. You don't want to miss out. Going to be busy, so get here early. Whatever that DC thing is you've had your eye on, you're going to want to come this weekend and grab that. And I want to mention that the Silicon Valley Comic-Con's right around the corner. You're going to see us set up over there. The biggest, coolest show here in the South Bay, so don't miss out on that either. I'm pretty sure you can pick up your tickets online. That's all we got for you for this week. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out at blackcatcomics.biz. Check out our cool YouTube channel. Or just get on down here to Rockin' Milpitas. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.